Welcome to this demo of Little Journey's ICU pathways at both Chelsea and Westminster Hospital and West Middlesex University Hospital. So in this demo, we're going to run through what pathways are available and the content that will be shown in the app for you to share with your patients, their families, and their loved ones. And I will also be showing you some of the marketing materials. So we have a poster and a business card for both hospitals, so that Little Journey can be shared with patients and families to download and understand a bit about what is being offered. So to start, there are 4 pathways at Chelsea and Westminster Hospital and 4 pathways at West Middlesex University Hospital. So there's a patient elective pathway, a patient emergency pathway, a family elective pathway, and a family emergency pathway. So understandably, elective and emergency differ with regards to the equipment and the level of care. And then between the patient versus the family pathways, the family in the tours are shown a few less rooms, as they won't be allowed to go into some of them. So they haven't been added in to avoid any confusion. So if I start with Chelsea and Westminster Hospital, their patient elective pathway. So here is our home screen. So a bit of background about Little Journey. We have historically supported pediatric procedures. So you might see some things on the home screen that aren't very applicable to your adult population. So please be aware that this requires some development work, which we'll be doing later in the year, to update the home screen and make it more applicable to your patients and their families. So for example, parent information is going to be changed to information, as well as we have some relax exercises and games that are more applicable to children that can be removed later on in the year. So the key things in the app are take a tour, and then also the information section titled parent information, but will be changed to information. So first I'll walk you through the tour. So we've got for all of them this description. So at all 4 pathways at Chelsea and Westminster and all 4 pathways at West Middlesex have this description for their tour, and I'll read it out. Please enter any room in this tour to view the hospital environment. Enter the ICU bed space to learn more about the equipment in ICU. Enter the ICU sounds to hear the sounds of the equipment. So as I mentioned before, the tour, so here in the patient elective, there might be a few rooms that wouldn't be in the family elective pathway, as they might not be able to go into them, such as, theatre. The family wouldn't be going in there. So if we have a look at the family elective, we can see a bit of the difference. So yes, they don't have, anaesthetic room, theatre, recovery room, as they won't be going in there. So back to the patient elective. There are 360 images of each of these rooms. So if I go into the anaesthetic room, for example, we can see the environment here. So please be aware, what we're seeing here is the application preview. In the actual app on a phone or tablet, it does rotate to be a horizontal view, as I'm going to show you now, just here. So instead of having it vertical, it'd be more like this. So it might be a bit easier to see the environment. So people can use their finger in the app to just go around the room and get an idea of the environments that they might be going into, or they have already been in, or, this is a great tool with the virtual environments for any family or loved ones that are unable to visit the ICU. They can, if they might be a bit anxious or upset, they can get an idea of what environments their, family or their loved ones are in, and try and, help ease their mind, or just have an idea of where that person is. So in each tour, there is either an ICU room, or sometimes, so it's ICU room for Chelsea and Westminster Hospital, and then the corresponding room is called ICU bed space in West Middlesex, just because they don't necessarily have a room, they might just have a bed space. But that room itself has tags that label the equipment, so they're audios that explain what the equipment is, as I'm going to show you now, as well as a key animation to explain equipment. So you can see here in the Chelsea and Westminster Hospital patient elective pathway, there are these question mark tags. So they're point of interest tags that families or patients can tap on. And then it explains the name of the equipment and a little bit about the equipment and what it does. So they've all been, placed appropriately. You can see here this one for suction is right over the equipment there. And that's the question mark point of interest tags. There's also a point of interest tags with a play button. So that has the main animation. And I'll show you at the start of it here. So there's a little disclaimer to explain, differences in care. So it says here, not all of the equipment shown here will be necessary for every patient. The team will decide what equipment and support a patient will need during their ICU stay. And then it goes on to play the different bits of equipment. I think the first one is nasal cannula, but it doesn't want to load for me. But yes, it goes on to play the equipment there. So if
nasal cannula.
Oh, there you go, you can hear it.
These are nasal cannula. They are small tubes placed in the nostrils, delivering extra oxygen.
There you go, that's a quick snippet of the first 19 seconds. So that's the key animation there, which is placed, on the bed. And when using the app, you just tap on it, and then it kind of this screen that you saw here, it goes full screen on the phone, as you can imagine, and then plays through the equipment to let them know, see what it looks like, as well as, what it does and the name. So that's for every pathway. There's a room that has these tags and the main animation to explain the equipment. And then there's also a room called ICU Sounds, where there's a tag on the bed. And this is, as we said in the tour description, is an option to listen to the sounds of the ICU. So I'll play you that clip there. Great. And then I will also give you an example of, of using the point of interest tags in the ICU room here. So again, remember this will be horizontal, but for example here, the syringe pumps, if we click on that.
Syringe pumps. This is a syringe pump. This delivers medicine into the patient's body at a controlled rate. A syringe of medicine is connected to the pump by tubes called an infusion line. The medicine then flows through the infusion line directly into the patient's vein. You will often see many syringe pumps around the bed, all delivering different medicines.
Great, I'll stop it there, but you get the idea. So once that finishes playing, then all the tags will pop up again like this, and then they can click on more equipment to learn about all the things in the room. So that's the tours. And there's, like I said, there's the 4 pathways here and a tour for each one, suitable for who will be viewing it. So just to give an example, at West Middlesex. Yeah. This is the patient elective pathway at West Middlesex. So we've got the main entrance, anaesthetic room, theatre, recovery room, ICU entrance, and then ICU bed space. So you can see here the equipment tagged and then the main animation there. So that's the tour. And then we have if I go back to the home screen for you, so now we're in West Middlesex, the parent information. So there are information articles organised by categories. So we've got hospital staff, introduction to intensive care, procedures and tests, physiotherapy, help and support, palliative care, medication, medical conditions, children visiting the ICU, feedback, bereavement. So if you click into these, then there's a drop down of the bite-sized information articles. So you can see some here like what is life support, and then you just click back up. Other ones, medical conditions here. And then another example in bereavement. So you can see here some of the articles have a link to your website, Chelsea and Westminster, for that centralised information that is going to be up to date. And it just says, please click the link for more information. So if I click it, you can see, as it would do on the phone, it would just open it up in their web browser for them to read this information. So that's the articles. They're bite-sized and they run through these categories here. And then the other key thing in this information section, so it's information articles and key hospital information are what is relevant. Again, we'll be removing later on in the year things such as fasting guidelines that are not applicable. So key hospital information, as it says here, everything you need to know about your hospital and how to get in touch, as well as, you know, facilities. So there's a map showing where the hospital is. And then there's, you know, contact information. So there's a call button. So when on the phone, you know, someone can just click that button and it takes them straight to calling the number that has been put in here. So you can see here, kind of in the back end, in the portal, this number was put in here, as well as an email. If they tap that on their phone or tablet, it will go straight to creating an email from their email app with an email address to the email given here. And then we just have some extra information. So we've got visiting hours, contact information for both hospitals, car parking, and then hospital services. So this project was championed by Lee Paxton at Chelsea and Westminster. You can see his email here, lee.paxton1@nhs.net. So if you have any kind of queries or anything that you might, you know, want to suggest with regards to the content in the app once it's launched, then please do get in contact with him, and then he can get in contact with me and we can make any necessary changes together. So lastly, just to show you the posters and cards. So there's one for Chelsea and Westminster with, you know, the image of a ICU room in Chelsea and Westminster, as well as an image in West Middlesex of a ICU bed space, so applicable to both. And of course, as mentioned in a demo with some staff yesterday, we're aware that, you know, historically we supported pediatrics and the Lame Little Journey may not scream, you know, that it's for adult patients, but we hope that the materials that we're providing are appropriate for your patients, you know, appropriate for adults, the older age group, and it's clear to them that, you know, this app does have relevant information that will be provided to them in an appropriate manner. So here, you know, we've got a quick summary explaining there's virtual tours and information articles, and, you know, they can hear audio descriptions of the equipment, as well as, you know, then some more information here in written text, who to get in touch with. So Lee Paxton at Chelsea and Westminster. And then we've got Amanda Dixon at West Middlesex. And then there is on the poster a QR code to download Little Journey, as well as, you know, making it clear it's available on the App Store and Google Play. So we've got the same for both Chelsea and Westminster and West Middlesex, a QR code to download Little Journey, the app. And then we also have business cards that might be more suitable for staff to, you know, keep behind their like staff passes or in their pocket, or, you know, at relevant reception desks to hand out to patients and families, or keep on them, you know, if families want to scan it while they're at ICU and download the app then and there. There are these cards to explain a little bit about the pathway and that it can support them. So yes, if you have any questions, please do get in contact with Lee. Again, his email is here, so lee.paxton1@nhs.net. And then he can get in contact with me to discuss any changes you think might, you know, need to be made, or if you want to just give some feedback, that would be great as well. To hear from families or from yourself, then please do get in touch with him, and then he can kind of forward that on to me. Thank you very much. And yes, any feedback, please do let us know.